Hey everybody, this is Mystery Commander Theater 100. I'm Reptile and I'm joined by Synergistic.
Hey everybody.
And right now, this is the Commander game for our Ezuri, the follow-up to our Ezuri Deck Tech video. And right now we have Yuriko, played by Thraxis. Resting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like the numbers afterwards. I'm a fan. On the Dragon, I'm on the mentioned Ezuri deck, Claw of Progress. And Synergistic, you're on Chulane. What kind of version of Chulane are you on?
It's kind of a creature stacks deck. It's supposed to be very synergistic, but not so quite in this game. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll be looking to see. Resting gets to go first. I think definitely the slowest deck out of everyone, so going to go first, pretty good boon. Everyone's really just throwing down the turn one, protection, dorks, whatever your colors allow. I go for Arbor Health, trying to ramp into Ezuri a little earlier, and Thraxis definitely going to come down with Thousand Face Shadow, a card I'd never see outside of Yuriko.
Yeah, it's a pretty good turn 1 play, especially as Yuriko is like a proxy turn 2 commander that's swinging in, or you get him some value.
Yeah, a 1/1 flyer that also just happens to be a ninja. But Resting coming out, Arcane Signet. He's looking to ramp too. The Dragon is not cheap, so
yeah,
he's hoping to get
9 mana, nothing, easy.
Yeah, easy, especially for just playing a land in every turn. But here, I actually get a lot of my engine set up without Ezuri. I have 4 mana here, and I have a Thrasios. So worst comes to worst, Drannith hits the board or something, and looks like we're drawing with Thrasios.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card, pretty good setup.
Now, why did you choose to go for the Grand Abolisher?
I like to slow down the games because I'm pretty slow compared to the aggro player sitting next to me, and then there's a combo player sitting in front of me, and then there's a nice Earth Dragon across.
So you just wanted to ensure that on your turn you're able to assess the board and deal with the threats. That way, no one's able to do anything.
Yeah, I just want to play the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to play the game uninterrupted. I want to as well. I wish I could play Grand Abolisher in Simic. But
I like to play Solitaire, yeah. Oh, turn 3 commander though, it's pretty good.
It is. Generally, like, ramping them out as fast as possible is good, but you also, that's part of the dilemma, is, I appreciate the Stony Silence, since I'm on just creatures and lands. I actually run you see in the Deck Tech video, fair bit of Null Rod effects, so to see it on an enchantment, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it kind of helps out. Kind of slows down Resting. Playing with the Arcane Signet, he's kind of hoping to ramp, and he's already a mana short with that.
Yeah. Yuriko also does rely on a lot of artifacts. I mean, there really aren't too many dorks in Dimir, so you do shut down at least that aspect of it, but swinging in, scroll rack, yep, there's something you hit.
Yeah, good catch. Poor Resting, though, he gets to be the punching back of the Yuriko player, because he has no blockers. And
yeah, all those... Oh, and another Triome. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a lot of tap lands. So we decided to play the Earth Dragon deck in this pod because in the previous gameplay that we did, the Earth Dragon kind of won and did pretty good. So we were gonna try to see how he did against more powerful decks.
Yeah, we upped it up just a little bit. I'd say that Ezuri's more on the fringes of if we're what you would call like cEDH, I guess, just this game, but definitely still is able to hold his own, and the Earth Dragon is just a little slow, but when people start playing those roll law effects, these mid-range, like usually too slow for the format decks, you get to see those hasty dragons coming out. So.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good. Good job on the fetch there. We kind of we got distracted talking in the game. Yeah. We forgot to get the Elvish Hamager trigger, which is you get a tutor for an elf, I think.
Yeah, I put it on the stack because I even remember saying there was the Ezuri trigger and then the Harbinger trigger, and I did the Ezuri trigger first, just got an experience counter, and then on his turn I'm like, oh my god, wait, I need something, and I try to get a Fathom Mage, and like, I need an elf. Never mind. So I ended up just getting Prime Speaker Xanathar.
And I'm just kind of building my board, getting the Captain of EOS, getting an elf. I have a bounce effect in my hand, so I can always, get my Eon back into my hand. It's pretty good, especially if I ever get to play Holland, as some people call him, or Chulane, as we call him here.
I've only heard him be called Holland once, and
Once too many for my taste, but it is what it is.
Scroll Rat comes down. Again, the Stony Silence. Another good thing is Prime Speaker Xanathar is Street Wraith 5.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it was around here when I was like, okay, like, everyone's taking damage, but it's still pretty, everyone's still pretty healthy. Usually I don't really worry about it too much, but I was worried about the dragons. Another thing hit by the Stony Silence. Really coming in clutch to slow things down.
Yeah, that shutting down that scroll rack's pretty good, especially as he could stack the triggers in such a way where we would have been hit with Street Wraith twice, so instead of 5 taking 10 damage. But hey, we got a dragon on the board.
I didn't realize this was a cat dragon.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is. Look at that.
I didn't even realize it was a cat.
Makes
cool.
Little kitties. Yeah.
So here, I'm figuring out how to tap everything. Arbor Elf makes it confusing sometimes. So I get an Ezuri trigger. On the stack, Prime Speaker doesn't have haste, so right now it's just on the board, but it has 4 toughness, and right now it looks like combat damage is a thing. So I have no flyers, but I think Thraxis is going to opt to keep going that way.
Yeah, I think you send your damage to Thraxis too.
Yeah, because he's the only one that's not getting affected by the burn, since it's hitting the whole table aside from him. So I thought I'd return the favor, and I need to play the Sylvan, so I want him dead.
Yeah, I think that. So he played a Mystic Remora turn 2 or turn 3, and he only drew 1 card from it. I think your Sylvan, since I think resting, and I essentially play creatures most of the time, and then I think you're a pretty creature heavy deck too. So.
Yeah, I'm really creature heavy. I wanted some more draw just because I was able to get my search and I was able to get my Prime Speaker Xanathar. So really, if it goes untouched, I have access to, basically anything in my deck. So I'm more looking for interaction, protection, things to influence the board to stop themselves. But he gets a cycle, gets to draw, and yeah, Stony Silence. I think that's another deterrent for the fish, is no one's really going to want to play their mana rocks because they're turned off, so why even give someone a card?
Yeah, there's no point. So I think we're all kind of getting close to the mid-range, mid-game kind of part of the game now. We survived the first onslaught of aggro.
I would say, when would you say the mid-game starts? I think it's around like turn, at least in cEDH, I think it's like turn 4.
Well, maybe the late game. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think turn 4 sounds about right. Giving Symmetry, tutoring for something. I think he's tutoring for the combo at this point. He picks resting to also tutor with him and see what resting gets. So this is kind of red flags. I think he can cast. He can't cast Toss Us and one of the Demonic Consultation combo based on his mana. But since he's kind of a Bernie deck, I'm sure we'll get hit by something big as he goes to combat.
And it also is a black tutor, so you get anything that you want. So any answer. When I saw this, I think you mentioned Toxic Deluge, and I was like, my whole board's about to get wiped. Outside of, unless he wants to take, I think Thraxis is a 7 or a 6 at the moment. Still a good amount of damage, but
yeah. He goes to
he's gonna go to combat, and
we'll
see. And it's a Shadow of Mortality, so we all took 15, which was, at the time of this recording, Shadow of Mortality, it was out for like 2 days or something, and then we already got a turn on us. I think 45 damage off of one swing on one person to the table. Really starts to put the clock, and I think this is a really pivotal point. That was a good search, because at this point we're all creature-based decks, like we said before, so we have the ability to go to combat and really kill each other at these low life totals.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't know that card existed prior to this game. I've never seen it in my life, so I was kind of mind blown by it. Looks like resting got a resting Ristic Study. Looks like, I don't know, he's hasn't played that many spells this game, so I'm sure he's just trying to draw cards and try to catch up with the rest of us. Has a dragon to do some damage, especially as everybody's like really low life totals.
Yeah, I would assume so. And right now the dragons start to become even more of a threat. Here, I see the life totals are low, and Sylvan Library ends up getting me a land interaction and ways to up my experience counter. So I was like, I think this is the point where I go for it. Xanathar is doesn't have summon sickness anymore, so I can go tutor out anything that I want. And I'm at 2 experience counters. So in my head, getting out Sage of Hours, if I can get 2 more, Sage of Hours goes on and I take infinite turns. So Shrieking Drake, thankfully, will get me there if I'm able to go unimpeded.
So yeah, here comes the perks of being the editor of the team. Prior to playing this game, I was editing the deck tech for this video. So I kind of saw the Shrieking Drake interaction, which will just bounce it essentially enough times to get the 5 experience counters. You're at 2, so that's 3 more times. Actually, 2 more times, right? Because you get the
the Sage of Hours will entering the battlefield will give me 1. So a lot of the times, if you're gonna get Sage of Hours out, you really only need 4 if you haven't cashed them yet.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the only reason we knew to interact here, because I had that little nugget of information. I sacrificed the captain of EOS to silence you. I thought that silenced target opponent. Turns out it silences all my opponents. So
I was so happy to see that. I was like, because now everyone has to use their. You basically forced everyone's hand. Like, you have to use it now on this, on the Shrieking Drake or on whatever. But I think my Xanathar tries to get snuffed out.
Yeah, Thraxis has some interaction in his hand, so he goes for the snuff out. You kind of counter it with delay.
Delay it, and then here I'm praying because you range your captain a lot of the time. People only do that if they really don't have too much interaction. But unfortunately, Thraxis coming in with the Commandeer, able to not only like delay my Shrieking Drake, so I don't even get the enter the battlefield effect, but now my Xanathar is dead, and I can only activate it as sorcery. Forgot about that. As I go through, and then I'm like, wait, oh no, it's only as a sorcery.
So real winners in this interaction is, I think, resting, right? I think he drew like 5 cards of the Rizek study. Thraxis has like 1 card in hand. It's that monstrosity thing he showed us, the 15 damage. You don't have your combo anymore. You're at 6 life too.
Yeah, the Sylvan library. The Sylvan gave me the land, the Shrieking Drake, and the delay. And I thought with 1 piece of interaction in my hand, it was safe to go for, especially since, we've kind of been throwing it out. At least some interaction out here and there, but, sometimes you go for it and sometimes you get got. So it happens. I think at this point, I know that I am the weakest link at the table, so to say, where I can just be picked off easily. So I opt to go for more of an aggressive strategy, and since resting doesn't... I know we've said it already, he's been the punchy bag of the game, but I need to make him have his life total as low as mine, so that way, I don't incur the wrath on either from Thraxis or you, and I give you guys another option to kill. So
yeah, I mean, poor resting. He had 3 permanents or 3 spells this game, and you killed 1 of them, the Ristic Study. So he's down to 2. I mean, just look at the board state, right?
What do you mean, poor him? What about that Stony Silence is shutting that other one off? That's effectively dead too.
It's effectively 1 permanent. And let's just also note, resting's only been playing Magic for like, I think 6 months or so at the time of the recording. So he's picking it up quite fast. So good for him.
Still pretty new, and was able to win the last episode of Mystery Commander Theater. So
spoilers alert. Jeez.
That already came out. What do you mean?
What if someone didn't watch that? So my turn, I get to pick. I have a funny card. It's a really bad card. The deck's full of really bad cards.
Speaking of cards I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I know, right? I get to play this card just to like do some trickery and get some life totals. See if I ever hurry up and play it. Come on, man.
You almost took my strategy too. What would you say? It's Mystic Confluence.
Yeah.
I know it because of it now, and then I remember seeing this and I saw it was a 5-drop. For some reason I thought you casted a Sublime Epiphany or some other
really good card.
Random one. Yeah. I mean, it's not terrible if you're able to get all the modes off, but when I saw that you could just triple bounce me and then I had no blockers. And here you don't have enough to kill me, but you effectively put me back into the same position I was, just with a lower life total. So
yeah, so I made it very, very tempting for Thraxis to hit you or resting, so he can ignore me, and then we can do beatdowns later on.
Very true. Yeah. Essentially, it's just like swing at resting, and if he hits anything off of his deck, I'll die to the burn. So
yeah. So 1 or 2 drum roll. Nothing.
All right, a land and a force of will. Damn, I was
Exactly.
hoping for another land. You know, maybe a crypt, something like that. But unfortunately, died to the Yuriko burn. We were put in kind of a precarious situation, but we went for our win. He got stuffed out, or snuffed out. That's fucking. Forgot that was a card.
Yeah,
Actually, did get snuffed out. Yeah, and commandeered, but that's not a phrase.
That's not
I got commandeered.
Sure.
So you go for the Teferi here. Again, more Brand Abolisher, Teferi Time Raveler. You want your turns to be all about you, don't you?
Honestly, man, I'm so freaking selfish. Which is just, at this point, it's just kind of beatdown, right? It's kind of just, we're literally just playing beatdown. That's it.
Yeah, I think the only thing is if he drew in the console Oracle.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the only thing that he can get you with, but I mean...
Sad. No blue mana open. That would be quite unfortunate. Well, I know he only has like 1 card in hand, right? It's that 15 drop thing that he did a bunch of damage with.
That's true, he did commandeer, and then I guess the Changeling outcast from Ninjutsu we did earlier. That is an unblockable, which a 1/1 unblockable at this stage in the game is like, oh shit.
No, actually, I bounced that out of the class with Teferi.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm a dickhead and also play Evan Mindcessor as he goes fetching, so no, not for you, sir.
Hey, we prefaced it before your stacks deck, so.
Yeah.
Now, is that so? You've gotten to this point. You're like a stacks-based creature deck. How? I know you've missed some land drops, and you haven't really gotten to ramp into the mana that you want. But overall, is the deck kind of, synergizing the way you want it to?
No, Mara. I should be drawing way more lands. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thraxis has 7 lands, and I have 5. And I think I can guarantee you I run more lands than he does.
Yeah, Yuriko usually runs around 27.
Yeah, and I run like 32 or something like that. So
that's insane.
Yeah, I missed a lot of land drops, but drawing cards good.
I guess having the creatures for the beats ain't too bad either.
Yeah, kind of being ignored the whole game. I think I have like 1 counter spell in my hand. I think it's Fierce Guardianship. So I think I'm safe from the Thraxis Oracle.
Yeah, you have to get the console, but you're pretty safe. Go for the rapid hybridization. 3/3. Yeah, I mean, you have the interaction. I would say you don't have the counter spells, but you really don't need it, at least at this point, because you're basically playing 1v1 Magic with the Teferi on the board. So.
Yeah. And these creatures that are they're
Skyclave Apparition, Chulane.
Removal, kind of, a 2/2 is pretty good at this point of the game too. Especially since these things are like 1/3s or 1/1s or whatever.
So now here, we know that the ninjas are evasive and they can get through and they can push damage, and you really could just, die to burn.
Yeah.
What do you have any, alternate pivots if, like, say, like a backup, like Plan B, if you can't go into this creature-based strategy?
So if you like board wipes me or somehow manages to make the ninja unblockable.
I'm just imagining like if he ended up. I think he told us he didn't have a toxic deluge, but like a toxic deluge at this point in the game.
Gosh, if he had a toxic deluge, that'd be pretty sad. I guess it's a 5, I'm at 8, and I still get to play creatures. Again, here's Thraxis playing more cards I've never seen in my life.
March is a amazing card. It's not Toxic Deluge because then I getting rid of them, but this does give him that free swing that you need. So now that you're out of blockers, it's just
literally praying here.
You're just praying.
Yeah, because I even tapped my mon to make Chulane pro blue or something like that. I think the lizard's like green, so that was kind of worthless on my part. That was a mistake. So I'm out of blockers. 8 life. I take 4 from damage, so a Force of Will kills me too.
Good thing he was already drawn to kill us.
Yeah.
But I think you're I think, I mean, this seems to be definitely with Shadow of Mortality a more burn-heavy oriented version of the deck. So I think specifically against this, yeah, you really got to pray.
Drum roll.
Card gets flipped over, and you don't even get a land. You get a non-land card, but it's an Ornithopter.
It's a blocker. It's a blocker.
It just gets balanced, doesn't it?
No, Teferi's a 2. I think bounce is 3. But don't you worry, I have the answers. A really bad answer. It's actually not that bad. It's a playable card.
Oh yeah, I think it's Heliod's Intervention, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So destroy one target artifact.
This card's underrated because it lets you specifically hit the stacks pieces you want. Sometimes you don't want to get rid of every single stacks piece. Like you would want the Stony Silence on board, but if someone had a, I don't know, something against creatures, I actually think it has some pretty good value. So
yeah,
you want again? How was it being the one of the returning champions on Mystery Commander Theater?
Oh, it feels amazing. Let's do it again. Let's keep winning. Just kidding. I think that game was pretty close. I think flip anything that's 4 or greater, I lose the game. You comboing off if
if there was one less piece of interaction in that board, I think I would have won. Really, again, like we said, resting. He's learning, and he definitely had the lowest power level power-wise deck. So we'll have to see how it does, I guess, in a more established pod. But I think overall, pretty good.
Yeah,
I think everyone got to show their stuff aside from resting, like we said. But
yeah, and that's on us to work on power levels as a table to be better at it, which is something people.
He just likes his dragons, so we like to see. And sometimes cEDH shouldn't be excluded from every deck. Should be allowed in cEDH, but you kind of have to realize which ones are better than others and test everything.
Don't go gatekeeping. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. Any parting words?
No. Ezuri's cool. Looking to make updates to the deck. I'll make them periodically as new cards come. So stay tuned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good one.